Hi everyone, this is In the Game, and today we're gonna talk about football. I know there's a lot of people wishing for the season to start. Hopefully, next month is gonna start the season. There's a lot of talk with all this COVID if they're gonna be American football season this year or not. So we're gonna just dig in and talk about some of the top teams that are gonna be possible to go to the Super Bowl this year. And today we have our guest Mikey Tauber. Mikey, how you doing?
I'm good, Alan. Thanks for having me, man.
It's a pleasure to have you. I know that you're very thrilled about the season this year. And we both are also in the fantasy football league. So
That's right.
it's,
That's
it's,
right.
it's going to be very interesting if at the end of the day it's going to happen the season. There's a lot of things happening. There's even before COVID, there were like a lot of transfer rumors. Like we have Tom Brady that went to the Buccaneers as well as Gronk. And let's start digging. Like, what do you think about this year, the NFL?
Well, a lot of people are worried about the season, but I think it's going to happen. I think the NFL is going to do everything in its power to make sure it happens. I can't say if it's going to go exactly according to schedule, but I think there'll be just about close to a full season. Yeah, I think there's definitely a few new changes in terms. I don't remember all the people who are opting out at the top of my head. Not so many of the big name players, but a few. Yeah, you mentioned Tom Brady going to the Bucs. Honestly, I think that puts the Bucs in my. I want to talk about hopefully my top five teams going into this season, and the Bucs are one of them because of Tom Brady.
You think Tom Brady, the connection between Tom Brady and Gronk on the Buccaneers can bring some magic the way they used to be in the past?
I think there'll be some sparks there, but not the whole season like people are hoping. As in, I think there'll be a few nice touchdowns and a few nice connections, but it's not going to be like what it was. I mean, Gronk hasn't played for what 2 years now. Brady is a bit older. I still think he's one of the smartest QBs in the game. I think he's going to complete like the way I keep hearing people say to me, oh, well, Bruce Arians' system, it's all about these long throws and everything, like what Jameis Winston was doing. And Tom Brady's not going to fit that. And I think that's completely ridiculous. You bring in arguably the best quarterback who ever played the game. You're obviously tailoring your game, your play style more to him. And as well, Bruce Arians is known to have very tricky systems in terms of wide receivers kind of can change routes whenever they want, and that's very tricky for a lot of quarterbacks. But I think Tom Brady is somebody who it's not going to be that hard for, or maybe it'll take a game or two for him to get the hang of it fully. If not, if he doesn't know going straight into the season.
All right, so we know that one of your top five teams is the Buccaneers. So what's next?
All right. So honestly, I'll just start from 5 to 1. At number 5, I put in the Dallas Cowboys. I'm actually pretty high on them. A lot of people, are pretty high on them. And honestly, as a surprise, the Ravens are not in my top 5, which a lot of people, have in their top 5. I would put Ravens right past it. They're in my top 10. But honestly, the Cowboys, their offense is just incredibly good this year. Obviously they've always had a top 5 offensive line, but getting CD Lamb in the draft, their wide receivers, I don't even know who you're going to cover with Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CD Lamb. Then you have Ezekiel Elliott, of course, and Dak Prescott, all incredible. And then their defense is just great. I thought at first at the beginning of the season maybe their defense was going to take a step back, but going in terms of the offseason, but actually, right now they've got Everson Griffin. They signed just recently, and in my opinion, he's one of the best edge rushers in the league. So yeah, their defense, in my opinion, shouldn't lose a step. It should be even better going into the season. Especially today, there were rumors that the Cowboys defense is going to sign Earl Thomas, which, if that happens, that should pretty much solidify their defense at safety. Then at number 4, I would put the Saints. I love the Saints. I mean, I wish their defense was a bit better than I think it can be, but I still think it's a pretty solid defense with Marshawn Lattimore, Cameron Jordan obviously leading that defense. Then obviously with Michael Thomas, the best wide receiver, arguably the best wide receiver in the league. They've got Alvin Kamara, who I think is going to go back to what he was 2 years ago, not how he played last year. I mean, apparently he was playing injured the whole year last year.
Do you think Breeze is gonna? Do you think Breeze is gonna be good this year after like the injury that he suffered last season?
Yeah. Basically, I think Breeze is a quarterback that, even though he's older, I think during the season he kind of plays it more safe, to keep himself ready for the playoffs. But he's still at that level. I didn't see anything that would show that he took a step back, really. I mean, they still have a great offensive line. I don't see any reason why it'd be any really worse than last season. And on top of that, I think the Vikings, who've had the Saints number in the playoffs, I kind of had the Vikings looking outside, on the outside looking in. And if that happens, I think the Saints, I don't know why the Saints for some reason just cannot stop Dalvin Cook. But if the Vikings don't make it to the playoffs, I think the Saints have a real potential to go all the way. Then at number 3, I have the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, last year I looked at them as probably my favorite team in the entire league, even though most people at the beginning of the season were like, their win streak is not going to, keep going. And then it did, and then everyone started buying in. But I was high on the 49ers from the beginning of the season, and I think they only got better. I love that they picked up Brandon Ayuk in the draft. I think he's going to be really, really good. They picked up Trent Williams. He, in my opinion, is one of the best tackles in the game. I know he didn't play last season, but if it takes him a game or two to get back into shape, if he's not already, that offensive line is just going to be incredible. They obviously lost Deebo Samuel. Well, we don't know for how long, which is a problem, but I heard Brandon Ayuk has basically been so good in practice, and Kendrick Bourne, I heard, has also been incredible. They locked down George Kittle, who obviously is a game changer.
And the defense, Bosa.
Yeah, of course. Nick Bosa leads that defense with Eric Armstead. Their defense took a bit of a step back because they lost one of their great defensive tackles to the Colts. They traded up. They got a first-round pick, but who was it that they traded? Why am I blanking on his name? I'm forgetting his name. I don't know why, because he's so good that I shouldn't be. Oh, maybe he actually opted out this season. I'm not 100% sure. Who is it that they traded? Oh, let me just take a look here.
And also to say that you mentioned Kittles, I think Kittles is one of the best tight ends in the league, even like top 3 for sure.
I mean, Kittle's arguably the best tight end in the league, in my opinion. DeForest Buckner, right? That's who they traded. I'm not sure if he opted out or not, DeForest Buckner, but regardless, I think the Saints lose a bit from that, but they did draft Javion Kinlaw in the first round. So who knows? Maybe that could, maybe he could take that step forward. I don't mean that step forward. I mean, maybe he could take DeForest Buckner's position, in terms of how he played. But the 49ers still have a pretty solid defense. And then at number 2, you're talking about Kittle. Kittle's game changer. There's no question there. The Seahawks even said they traded for Jamal Adams to help stop George Kittle. That's just how dominant George Kittle is. He broke the bank, him and so did Travis Kelce. But at number 2, I've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady joining them. I think that is just going to change that offense. Jameis Winston was kind of just chucking it. Yeah, he was throwing for whatever was 3,000 to 4,000 yards, 3,000 to 4,000 yards, whatever it was. But Tom Brady is just so much smarter. He's not going to turn over the ball like Jameis Winston was throughout the whole season. He's going to slow that offense down, but they're just not going to lose. It's just going to be death by a thousand cuts when you play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They still have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, which are, of course, two of the top 10, arguably, wide receivers in the game. And I think with Tom Brady there, he's just going to make them so much better. Rob Gronkowski, OJ Howard, Cameron Brate, that tight end is just stacked. They have a good offensive line with Donovan Smith, Ali Marpet, Ryan Jensen, and then they drafted Tristan Wirfs. Like, seriously, that offensive line is just going to be great for Tom Brady. And then, of course, their defense is also going to be good with Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, Jason Pierre-Paul. Obviously, it's going to be led by Barrett because he was just insane last year, and I think he's going to have a great season this year. And people are surprised because most people are saying that. I think people will be surprised that I have the Bucs at number 2 because most people, maybe they'll put them in their top 10, but they don't see them that high up. I do. I think Tom Brady's going to completely change that team. And then, of course, at number 1, you have the Chiefs. They barely lost anybody in the offseason. They tried to keep everybody together. And Patrick Mahomes, when he's on fire, he's always on fire, but when he's really on fire, he just takes over a game. He's just unstoppable. And, yeah, they kept Chris Jones. They kept all their wide receivers for him. While their offensive line is not the best, I think they're just absolutely incredible. They did lose out on their right guard, which was a good player. I'm forgetting how to say his name, Laurent Duvernay-Tardy, for however you say his name. But they still have, Patrick Mahomes' thing wasn't really needing the best offensive line so long as he had a decent offensive line. And they still have Schwartz there at right tackle, and he's also a top 5 tackle. So, yeah, there's not a real reason that the Chiefs should not be at number 1 on most people's lists.
Well, there's a reason. There's a reason why this salary upgrade that Mahomes got before, like during COVID, actually.
Oh yeah, he became the highest paid player in the league. Record breaking contract. Because of that contract, I think he took over. What did he buy? Mahomes. He bought, I think, a baseball team. It's just crazy. Yeah, I think he bought the Royals. Just incredible. He's not the full ownership, but he bought an ownership stake with the Royals. Just crazy how much money he just got. And there's just no reason that the Chiefs, should not be number 1 on most people's list. Does that mean that they're going to repeat? I don't know, but they have a very good chance to repeat. I would love to see a Kansas City Chiefs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl. I don't know about you, but I think that would be great.
All right, so $1 million question here. So, what is your prediction for the teams to go to the Super Bowl this year?
My prediction, it would be, just because I had Chiefs at number 1, I think it would be Chiefs Buccaneers. And you just can't bet against Brady. That's why I could see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning it all. I know it's kind of like people would be shocked. Obviously, I see the Colts as a dark horse of getting into the playoffs. People forget how good that team was when Andrew Luck was part of that team going into this past season. Everybody thought that they were going to be a top team, and then Andrew Luck retired right before the season. And so, yeah, they were playing with the QB Jacoby Brissett. Now they've got Phillip Rivers, who is not as good as he used to be, but he's still a good quarterback. So they would be a good dark horse team to make the playoffs. I had them in my top 10. I could see them making it all the way and surprising everybody. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think it would be a Chiefs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl just because you just can't bet against Brady. And I believe Brady would beat Mahomes. I think Brady would slow the game down. He'd make sure that his offense would just keep scoring on every single drive, and they take their time, not allowing Mahomes to get on the field. That's what I think would happen. I don't know if it for sure would happen, but that would be my prediction.
Yeah, well, definitely we're gonna have to talk about it more in the next videos, and once soon the season will start, we'll keep analyzing what other teams have the options in going to playoffs, Super Bowl. It's been amazing, Mikey, to have you in the game, and really
Of course,
appreciate.
man. I'm always glad to be part of in the game.
So thank you very much. If everyone likes this video, click like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right, get in the game, everyone. Thanks, Alan.
Bye.
All right, bye.